In this assignment called Filter Squares, you're going to learn how to download a photo, put a grid on it, edit the grid, and then use the rectangular marquee to make a bunch of squares. And you're just going to experiment with a bunch of filters and adjustments. So it's really just a way to get to know all the different filters and adjustments that you can do in Photoshop in just kind of a fun way. So let's get started. The first thing you'll do is to find a picture in Pixabay and download it. I want you to try to find something that has a lot of color in it, that doesn't have just a lot of blank space. Your project will get really boring if there's a lot of blank area. Like if there was a lot more of this green here, it would be boring. So try to find something like an animal or a person or some type of subject that has a lot of color. So you'll go to the download and try to pick one that's about this size, somewhere around 1920. If Pixabay doesn't let you download it, just go ahead and make an account on Pixabay. It's free, and you'll be able to download, any size picture that you want. So you're going to go to Preferences, which is at the bottom of the Edit menu on your computer, or you can press Control K. And then you're going to go to Grids right here, and go to Grid right here, and make sure that your grid line is every 2 inches and the subdivisions are 1. If you have a drastically different photo size, this isn't going to be a good setting and you're going to want me to come and help you. But if you download a picture that's about 1920, you'll be good with this setting here. And then say OK. And if you don't see your grid, you're going to go to View, Show, and make sure that Grid is checked. So View, Show, I have my grid showing. And then the other thing you're going to want to do is go to Snap To and make sure that Grid is checked. That way when you draw your boxes, the line will snap into the grid and you'll have a really neat grid and it won't be, messy and unaligned. So when you have this picture open and you have your grid, you can see on one side here, I don't really have a full set of squares there. They're kind of cut off. So I want you to crop that. If that happens to you, whether it be the top or the bottom, I want you to crop it so that you have even squares. So if you go over here and click on the crop tool, you'll see it puts a box around here. And I'm just going to go over here on the side, click on that little white line and just pull it in so that it cuts that off right there. So after you use the crop tool, you need to press the check mark. So you're going to get the rectangular marquee tool, which is this right here, and you're going to draw boxes. You're going to select each grid, and since you clicked on the Snap To, it'll snap right to the edge of that grid. And what you're going to do is try different filters in all of these boxes. And to find the filters, they're going to be in 2 different places. We're going to go to Image, Adjustments, and you're going to try these filters here. So Image, Adjustments, try all of those. I would really stress trying the Hue and Saturation one the most. You'll be able to use this one frequently. I'll go ahead and show you that one. The reason why I like the Hue and Saturation is you're going to use that a lot in all of your assignments. So hue is basically color. So if you slide this around, you can totally change the color. Saturation just means how bright it is. So if you go all the way to the right, it'll get really bright. It'll get kind of gray and dull if you move it that way. And then the lightness is pretty obvious. It gets light and dark. So I'd really play around with the hue and saturation. That is a really important one. You can use it over and over again and just put different colors into your document. You can also just try colorize. That does some different things. So I'm going to say OK to that one. And then when you're done trying out a filter, do Control D to deselect it. And then you're going to go back and get another selection on the next box. And besides trying the image adjustments, trying these filters or these adjustments out here, I also want you to go to Filter. There's a lot of interesting things in here. Now, all of them will not work, so there might be times where you try to put something on there and it doesn't work. Just, exit out of there and try something else. You don't need to try every single one, but I just want you to see what they do. So it's a good time to experiment and, you know, to see how each of them act, because you'll probably want to use some of them in your other projects. I highly recommend going to Filter Gallery. If you open that, it has a lot of different ones. So you can click on it and it'll give you a preview, and you can open up these folders and try different things. So definitely go to the Filter Gallery and try that. And you can also adjust the way the filter looks over here on the right. So basically that's it. Do Control D. Just keep selecting each box and trying different filters. So go into Filter, try these. Like I said, they don't all work, so don't try. If you go in to try some of them and it doesn't work, just cancel out of it and try the next one. So go to Image, Adjustments, and try these, and go to Filter and try as many of these as you can. And when you're done and you want to see what your drawing looks like without the grid, you can just go back to the View and go to Show and uncheck the grid. And then you can see what your picture looks like without the grid.